back again. Happy Friday, Chance here at the Virtual Y for a chair yoga practice. What did I say last week? It's the most seated yoga practice. Alright, let's see. Appreciate you being here. Yoga is a very simple state of mind. Yoga means to unite. Yoga means to put together the mind and the body and the spirit in the present moment. There's many ways to do yoga. And yoga has many names when you think of it as simply a presence, an act of being present. But we call this chair yoga because we are using two of the key practices of the yoga, of the 8 limbs of yoga. One being pranayama, or the harnessing of your life energy. And in practice, that is breath work. That is using your breath as a tool and a teacher. Secondly is the asana, or the poses, the postures. So we're going to be combining not only our attention and our focus onto our breath, but also into the way that our body is, seated and what we're doing with it. And we're going to try to address a larger structure within yoga called the Nadi system, N-A-D-I system, meaning these rivers that flow through our body, these channels that transport life, energy, information. So what are these different channels? On a larger scale, these are like veins and arteries, like literally pumping blood like rivers. And on an even smaller level, we can get into the nervous system that is transporting electricity and electrical information, and even smaller than that into a more like spiritual somatic realm. But you can forget all that. All you have to do is take what serves you and leave the rest, because ultimately the lesson is you getting to know your body better and growing a confidence in a relationship with the things that you do with your body can actually change the way that your body feels. And the more you practice this, the more fruitful it becomes. So, thanks for joining. Let's start in our chair. You want a nice chair that your feet can touch the ground. If your feet cannot touch the ground, maybe you want to put a firm couch cushion or a folded blanket or something so your feet can be on the ground, so you have a little bit of support there. Next, we want to sit up so our back is not leaning on the back of the chair. So we're actually using some muscles in the low back and the spine here. Next, we're going to take that concentration, we're going to take that consciousness, we're going to take our attention and place it on how is our weight meeting the chair. Are we favoring one side? Are we all on our left side or our right side? Are we kind of leaning back or leaning forward? And we're just going to notice where on our body is touching the chair and where on our body is touching the ground. And we're going to try to make that nice and distributed so one single spot isn't bearing the majority of the weight. Now, take a deep breath in. What does it feel like to use your whole lungs? You might notice that usually we're not using our whole lungs when we're breathing unconsciously. But with conscious breath, we're going to be drawing in through the nose, following the breath all the way down to the belly, and then slowly releasing the breath, not just dumping it out, but harnessing it, controlling it to have it be a soothing, lasting sensation of release. Okay, so let's just take a couple practice breaths. In through the nose and out through the nose. Again, we don't want to strain, but we do want to find where we can stretch a little bit of our lungs, stretching lower down into our belly, maybe even all the way down into our hips, and filling upward. And on our exhales, just controlling that speed and intensity of the breath leaving to make the inhales last about as long as the exhales, and vice versa, and also have about the same amount of force or pressure behind them. So one way that we can do that is using an ujjayi breath, a victorious breath. And we do this by imagining that we're fogging up a window or a mirror with our exhale, with that except our mouth is closed, so it sounds like this. So we want to breathe in like that and out like that. And as you're doing this, just notice how your body is responding. Does it feel like a lot of work in certain parts of your lungs, along your spine, your shoulders? Does it feel a little tingly, lightheaded, like a lot of work? Whatever it is that you're dealing with, or whatever it is that you experience by breathing like this, embrace it. Embracing and letting go at the same time. So whatever comes up, know that it's right. And whatever you don't want or whatever you experience that doesn't serve you, let it go. So we're holding what serves us and letting go what doesn't. That's exactly what your breath is doing all the time. On a tiny chemical level, your breath is breathing in what it needs, taking that oxygen from the air, and breathing out that carbon dioxide, expelling the waste of what we don't need. Now let that happen on a bigger scale. Feel that through your whole body. Every breath in, you're taking in what you need. Every breath out, you're letting go of what doesn't serve you, what you've already used up, what you've been carrying, and you want to let it go. So with that exhale, imagine a lightness or a release or a relief. And we're just going to breathe a couple more times to remember that this is one of the keys of the practice. It doesn't matter if you do all the poses. As long as you're breathing like this, you're getting a medicinal dose of pranayama, or harnessing of your life force. Good. Now we'll slowly start to move our shoulders a bit. And I just want you to gently rock your shoulders back on your inhales and forward on your exhales. Start to wake up these intersections of the body that otherwise don't get enough attention. Paying attention to that posture, a mindful awareness that the shape of our body directly contributes to the feelings in our body. And when we're breathing and bringing these spaces back online that might be a little more tense or stiff, be patient and just see what's happening. Next, we're going to bring our chin down towards our chest. Keep the spine long, keep reaching up tall through the crown of the head. And as you bring your chin towards your chest, notice where there's some tension. Probably around your neck, your throat, your shoulders. And just focus on the breath for a couple breaths. Next, we're going to gently rock the head in a half circle, letting your left ear reach towards your left shoulder. And along with your breath, you can bring the chin back down toward the chest and bring the right ear toward the right shoulder. So with this patience, notice if your mind is very busy. Notice if your mind wants to pay attention to everything else. And without judgment, recognize that that's normal, that's okay. That your mind might be distracted, that your mind might want to go elsewhere. But the practice is to continue bringing your attention back to the spaces in your body that are conveying information. To the spaces in your body that might feel a little uncomfortable, a little tight, a little stiff. And we just keep breathing into these spaces. You can bring your head back up to center and neutral. roll your tailbone under slightly to see if there's any more length in the spine you can reach. You want to relax the shoulders away from the ears, keep some space across the front of the chest and the heart. Take some deep breaths all the way down to the belly and notice what might have shifted already just from moving the shoulders and the head in the way that we did. Very, very patient, very accepting of our body. If we're making big changes, it's not going to happen immediately, but you will be able to notice every breath makes a subtle change in your body, and breath after breath leads to a snowballing effect of us releasing this tension. So let's add in more of our spine here. We're going to place our hands on our knees. As you sit up tall, when you breathe in, we're going to arch the back a bit by shining the heart upward toward the sky a bit more, tipping the chin up if that feels good, and drawing back on the shoulders. On your exhale, we're going to round through the spine. Roll your tailbone under, roll your shoulders forward, tuck your chin. Inhales to this kind of modified cow pose, opening your heart, arching your back a bit, looking up toward the sky. And on your exhales, rounding through the spine. Now, this nice slow movement gives us a lot of time to pay attention to the very subtle wisdom of our body. You know, you might feel some tension in your shoulders, in your neck, in your low back. You might have started breathing very shallowly because when you start moving and finding discomfort, your unconscious reaction is to breathe smaller, to try to shrink into your comfort zone. But we want to meet it with a rich, full breath. We want our lungs to expand and stretch and oxygen enrich our body. So we want to keep breathing in that full, soothing way. While paying close attention to where does the tension really show up as we're doing this. One more cycle of these. And we'll come back to center. Next, we're going to reach our arms straight forward. Imagine you're squeezing a block or a ball between your hands, so you're engaging the arm muscles. You know, this takes a little imagination. What muscles would you have to tighten to hold a ball or a block there? Keep sitting up tall, keep drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Your neck is long, your shoulders are level. Notice when you breathe in, where does that stretching take place? On your exhale, we're going to reach our hands further forward, kind of sliding our shoulders forward without really moving the squareness of our torso. So the arms are moving forward while the shoulders are staying square. And on your inhales, we're pulling the shoulders back in, keeping it in line with the spine. So exhales, the arms go forward. Inhales, the arms come back. I'm going to sit at an angle so you can kind of see this working. Where do you feel the heat? Where do you feel stuff coming back to life? Might feel a little uncomfortable. A little discomfort is okay. That's part of the learning experience. If anything feels extreme or painful, we want to avoid that. We don't want any extreme discomfort. So just pay attention, take breaks, do what feels good in your body. I'm going to come back to center. Keep the arms out in front. And on your next inhale, we're gonna reach the arms overhead, keeping that same action of squeezing something that's not there between our hands. We're squeezing. Oh. Noticing what that does to the shoulders, the spine. Noticing where that reveals any tightness, any tension. And on your next exhale, we're going to reach that ball or block, that imaginary thing, toward your feet. Rounding through the spine, tuck the chin. On your inhale, we're going to take a halfway lift. So your chest comes parallel to the ground, your spine is long, and your head is lifted so it's in line with your spine. And on your exhale, round through the spine again. Let the head hang heavy or tuck your chin. Inhale, halfway lift. Long spine, engage your low back. Breathe out, fold forward. Breathe in, halfway lift, long spine. Really reach from your low back. And breathe out, fold all the way forward. We're gonna stay folded forward for 3 breaths here. Notice how the changing shape of the lungs kind of massages the spine. Really allow that breath in. And really harness that breath as it leaves. Where are you getting information in your body from places that were previously asleep or forgotten? In your next inhale, we're going to reach the arms high, active through those hands like you're squeezing blocks in. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. From here, let's just keep the hands at heart center and take a few breaths to notice the symmetry in our body. How does it feel on either side of the spine? How do you feel as you breathe in deeply? Where do you feel that release, that tension? We'll bring the hands back to the knees. We'll get the hips involved here. Let's take that right ankle, cross it over the left knee. It's a good outer hip stretch. Now you have an option here to flex the toes on your right foot. And by when I say that, flexing the right foot, you're kind of pointing the toes back toward the shin. We're lengthening, the whole outer line of the leg here, really. Sit up tall. You can press a little pressure into that right hand, the right hand into the right knee to square that shin so it's parallel to the ground. But that might already be super uncomfortable. You want to listen to your body. You don't need to rush anything. If you feel a little bit of pressure, that's great. Just focus on your breath and the length of your spine. If you're looking for more intensity, lean your heart towards your shin and see how that outer right hip, outer line of the right leg gets a stretch. And we don't want to stretch to a point where it's painful. Instead, we want to just find the edge of our comfort zone. So we want to be mostly comfortable with just a touch of discomfort. And that's where we breathe. That's where we patiently observe what's taking place in our body. And after a round of breath, maybe you notice that your body has softened and you can comfortably lean a little further in. But maybe not. So we just want to find that comfortable edge and observe. Sometimes it shifts, sometimes it doesn't, but just by observing it, we're starting a chain reaction of healing. On your next inhale, we're going to gently come up, and we'll uncross that ankle, moving to the second side, cross the left ankle over the right knee. Sit up tall, really notice your long low back. Option to flex that left foot. Point the toes back toward the shin. Press that left hand into the left knee. Sit up very tall. Relax the shoulders. Notice if the stretch is already, doing enough, or if you'd like a little more, you can lean your heart towards your shin. Deep breaths, slow and patient. Grateful for it all. Next inhale, gently come up. Uncross that leg. Maybe you want to rock your knees a little from side to side. Noticing those hips. We got so much going on in those hips. We're going to take another stretch to engage and work a little on those inner lines of the hips. What an important intersection. Where the biggest bones in our body, our femur, connects to the trunk of our body, our pelvis there, and there's just so many directions the leg bone's meant to move. But if we don't move that in our daily life, if we don't move all those directions, those channels, those rivers, kind of dry up, and we have to patiently restore them. So this one, we're going to take this modified warrior 2. I really like this pose. We're going to let's start with the right foot. Bring the right foot out to the side so your toes are pointing directly out to the right. Now you want to make sure that your knee is right above the ankle. So you don't want your ankle in here, you don't want your ankle out here. See, your ankle is right beneath your knee. So you have a nice kind of right angle with that knee. Your left leg extends directly out as far as you can lengthen it and straighten it out and place the sole of the foot onto the ground. See right there, there's already probably a lot of stretch going on in your inner thighs, and that's good. Now, to engage the stretch, we're going to traction the feet into the ground. Press a little bit of weight into the feet and see how that develops in your inner thighs. Open your arms wide, place your chin right above your front shoulder there. Roll the tailbone under, soften the shoulders. Take a big breath in. You can even use your bandhas or those internal locks. And on your exhale, let's lean the torso toward the right, reaching in a long, extended side angle so the left arm matches the angle of the left leg. You can look up toward that left hand, maybe point your chin up toward that left hand. Pull in on those bandhas, your internal locks, your belly button, your pelvic floor, just squeezing that core really tight. And we'll come back up to that modified warrior 2. Your arms are wide, your chin's right above that right shoulder. And we'll bring our feet in back together. Slowly walk them in. Take note of what you feel you got going on in your hips. Now, anything you do on one side, you want to do symmetrically. So we're going to bring the left foot out to the left. Point the toes on the left foot directly out to the left there. Make sure that left knee is right above the left ankle. Reach the right leg out as straight as you can in the opposite direction. Place the sole of that right foot into the ground. Traction your feet into the ground. Really feel a little weight, a little pressure there, and how that arrives in your hips. Next, lengthen the low back. Reach up tall through the low back. Feel all this activity. Don't do anything painful, but you want to feel a little bit of discomfort. That's how you know the stretch is working. A comfortable amount of discomfort, not extreme discomfort or pain, and only you know what the difference is. So observe, slow down, pay your attention into your body with gratitude and patience. Take one more big inhale here. And exhale, extended side angle. bring the left elbow toward the left knee. Reach that right hand overhead at an angle equal to or similar to that right leg. Look up toward that right hand. Point your chin up toward the hand. Pull in on your core, whatever that means to you. Notice what happens. Take one more big breath. And we'll come back up to Warrior Two. Arms wide, chin right above that front shoulder. Notice where you can traction your feet in. Notice what has shifted. And we'll walk the feet back into center. And we'll conclude with a twist. So let's take the left hand, place it on the right knee. Take the right hand, place it on the right side of the chair or the back of the chair. And look out over your right shoulder, keeping your knees pointed forward, your hips square on the chair. Take a big breath in. Really see what's there. Neck, shoulders, spine. When you breathe all the way into the bottom of your lungs, you're going to feel stuff waking up that would otherwise still be asleep. Your next inhale will come back to center. Second side, take the right hand, place it on the left knee. Take the left hand, put it on the left side of the chair or the back of the chair. Look out over the left shoulder, lengthen the spine. Big breaths. Try to breathe all the way down to your belly and all the way up to your collarbones. Big breaths. And just observe what your body is letting go of. Trust that these simple practices awaken a deeper intuition in your body. Your body knows what it needs. So as you awaken these spaces, just pay attention. Your body knows what to do. We'll come back to center. Place your palms toward the sky, the backs of the hands on the knees. And we'll just take a minute of thoughtful breathing, noticing the length of the spine, noticing how your body has shifted throughout the practice. Palms facing the sky is a very subtle symbol of being ready for what blessings are in store, what is coming to you. So this receiving, this openness, this trust in your surroundings, in your body, and in the environment around you. Just a couple more deep breaths. Conclude, we'll bring hands together at heart center. Namaste. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have an excellent Friday, and I'll see you again next week. Cheers.